What is going on, fellow members of the ALF? It's your commish, Olive Juice 88, with his new assistant to the commish, Baby Olive Juice 88, coming at you guys with the Week 12 recap. And we had a big one. We've had an injury amongst our ranks as coaches and fantasy managers. Mr. Brad Wilhite decided to go out ice skating, and he must not be that good at it because he did fall and break his arm. Um, and I like I feel for the guy, right? Because he really needed a win this past week, and why put it off? Let's just go ahead and get in the recap. We had Brad taking on Matt Murphy, two teams that were still looking for a playoff berth. And Brad comes out on top in that matchup with a broken freaking arm by 4 points. I gotta say that's probably one of the gutsiest performances in the Alps history because I know it had to be painful, miserable, um, just going through your lineup, setting it with your offhand. Like, I can only imagine the struggle of having to set a lineup left-handed for me because that's my offhand. So um, it, I mean, it had to have taken a full 30 seconds longer than normal. And I mean, like that, this type of performance you only see like once in a generation. Like, back in the mid 2000s, the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, and Terrell Owens put on a show in a losing effort with a broken foot. You had Michael Jordan put up 60 with the flu back in the 90s. Like, and here we got Brad with a broken arm taking out Matt Murphy to eliminate him from playoff contention and keep his playoff dreams alive. It's well done. I gotta say that is impressive. In that game, I'm giving Michael Pittman the offensive MVP. Going into Monday night, Brad needed a solid 16, 17 points to win, and he got everything he needed plus a couple extra, just in case stat corrections came through and got him. But that didn't happen. He won by 4, and his playoff hopes are alive. So we'll see how the season closes out for him, and I'm gonna say, Brad, I hope you make it because Melvin's got that pick in that horrible trade you guys made, and it can't be a top 4 pick. So Brad, win out, make the playoffs, please, for everybody. Do it for everybody, buddy. Please. I won't call you stupid no more. I promise. Moving on, we had the Battle of the Family Tree, as myself took out dear old dad, and that was a 37-point game. Wasn't really close. It looked like it may have been early on, but a couple of injuries here and there. I think Najee Harris was one of them. Aaron Donald, he sprained his ankle in that last game, so really didn't get what he needed. It was a low scoring game, so all he really needed was a little help, and it didn't show up. A couple of people just couldn't stay on the field, and that cost him his matchup. Um, in our third game, we had Melvin taking on Brian Carden. In a not so close game. It was a 38-point game. I am giving Aluakun the defensive MVP. Just mainly because nobody else came even close. Like, I didn't feel right giving it to anybody else. Because none of the matchups were really all that close, and the people that affected, like the couple of the closer games, they didn't do anything. I don't even think they scored 20 points. So, it didn't feel right giving it to anybody other than Alua Kun with his 37 points in that matchup there. Moving on, we've got the other Brian Smith, my good old brother, taking on Mr. Josh Jansen in a 4-point victory. Really, sending. I think both of those guys are 6-6 now, along with Mr. Carden and Brad Wilhite, and the loser of our next and final game of Week 12, J. Russ. 5 guys sitting at 6-6. Eric did take out J. Russ last week by 34 points. So once again, another game that wasn't so close. But we've got 2 weeks left. 5 guys sitting at 6-6, fighting for 3 playoff spots, because I believe that Melvin and Eric have the 1 and 2 seeds locked up. I'm sitting there in third. I mean, I've got an outside chance at getting getting a 1 or 2 seed, but Melvin would have to lose this week, and I would have to beat him straight up next week. So, we'll see how these last couple weeks play out. I think at least the last couple of playoff spots are going to come down to the final week of the season. So, good luck to you guys sitting at 6-6 trying to make your way in. Come hard or go home. I guess that's really the only way to keep your hopes alive. I don't know. Words are hard. I'm also trying to make sure this little thing doesn't roll out of my arms. So, multitasking. In our stat segment of this week, I'm gonna go over the top scorers and most efficient guys and whatnot through week 12 of the season. It should be no surprise. The most points scored in the league is our number 1 seed, Melvin Johnson, with 1,948.22 points. The fewest points in the league is my dad, Pops. You try real hard and never give up, like John Cena says. With that point total is 1,486. 0.48 points. The most points scored against is also Pops with 1795.24. You've had a few close weeks. A couple of bad beats. You could be sitting at 2 or 3 wins on the season, but overall, without scoring more points, I doubt you really make a push for the playoffs. The fewest points scored against, that goes to Brad with 1,548.92 points. I've looked it over, and I was really trying to figure out how Brad is even in contention, because he doesn't score a lot of points, but then again, he gets pretty lucky and people don't score a lot of points against him. So, he follows that up with being pretty efficient with his lineup choices, and does just enough to eke out a few wins every now and then. So, it's impressive. Fantasy football is a little luck based. It is what it is. We look at matchups and this and that, and who we think is going to do well, and sometimes you're just lucky facing some guys on some down weeks. So, it is what it is. Talked a little bit about the efficiency. Brad was, pretty much on par with league average, but our most efficient team is Team Lethal Kindness, my good old brother, sitting at 85.7%. And our least efficient team is dear old dad with 71.9%. Like I said, sometimes you try to play your matchups and they just don't play out very well for you. So I hope you can come back strong next year, Pops. But, for now, just let the big boys handle the rest of the season, I guess. Our our highest week on the season, which is also the highest week of all time in the league, belongs to Josh Jansen with 222.14 points. Oh, big old yawn. If you go to sleep, it'll be all right. Sorry, distracted. Baby distracts very easily. She's just so adorable. But yeah, so highest week, Josh Jansen, 222.14. It's also the highest week on in the history of the league. And then the lowest week of the season is good old brother Brian with 52 and a half points. That was that bye week. Um, just terrible situations all around there. And Josh Allen was on a bye. He had a couple of defenders on a bye and didn't really want to drop his key pieces to field a full lineup. I get it. Like I said it back then when I did the recap. Then one of these weeks every now and then I'm not gonna look at it like it's tanking. It's just hey, I'm gonna go ahead and take this loss and hope that I can win the rest of my weeks to keep going. So as long as it doesn't become a thing where it's somebody's tanking, um, then I'm not really gonna worry too much about it. So all in all, I feel like it's been a pretty great year. Fantasy wise, it's going right down to the wire for these last few playoff spots. Um, you know, we'll we'll see what happens. We've got a few injury news here. We've got Christian McCaffrey's been day to day with some knee irritations, so I hope he's okay. But if he wants to sit out a few weeks, and rest up for the real NFL playoffs, that'd be cool. Melvin doesn't need him that much. Um, Najee Harris with an abdominal strain. I I don't know. I didn't see what his status was. I think he was questionable last I saw. Aaron Donald with a high ankle sprain. That's usually gonna cost you a few weeks, especially with the Rams not being that good this year. And Josh Jacobs with a calf strain. I do believe he sat out of practice all week this week just to go through treatment for his calf strain. But when you put up 303 yards in a game and completely just blow up, like had it not been for the situation, um, Michael Pittman giving Brad what he needed to win Monday night, and had Josh actually beat my brother, Josh Jacobs would have been player of the week, and it wouldn't even been close. So I think he was 50 to 54 points. Like it was wild. So yeah. Other than that, I don't really have anything else. Those were all my notes for this week. I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna try to get this little baby to take a nap, and I will see you guys next week with the Week 13 recap. So good luck to you guys with your games this weekend, and see you later.